In this exercise, we're going to practice the skills that we've learned in this section related to named ranges. So in the first part of this exercise, I'd like you to practice naming different ranges in your worksheet. And the worksheet that we're using is the Customer Data worksheet. So the first thing I'd like you to do is go through and name the following data ranges. A2 to A52, I'd like you to name that range Customer Name. B2 to B52, I'd like you to name that range Quantity. And what you'll notice is that these ranges are basically just the ranges that you see here. And they're all going to be named according to the column heading. So go through and create all of those named ranges. I'd also like you to create a named range for the tax rate. So this cell reference just here, H2 to I2, I'd like you to name tax rate. And if possible, try using all of the different methods that I showed you for creating named ranges so that you can practice them. Once you have your named ranges set up, let's use them in some formulas. So the first thing I'd like you to do is replace the reference to cell I2 in the sales tax formula in column E with the named range. I'd then like you to recalculate the formulas in cell range I4 to I8 using the named ranges instead of cell references. So that should keep you busy for the next few minutes, and if you'd like to see my answer, then please keep watching. So the first thing I asked you to do was to create named ranges for all of the columns in the table. So a quick way to do this would be to select all of the column headings, Control Shift down arrow to select everything, and then on the Formulas tab, choose Create from Selection. I'm going to use the top row, so my column headings, as the names for each of my ranges. Click on OK, and let's just check that those have set in that name box, which I can see that they have. I also asked you to create a named range for the sales tax as well. So what we're going to do here is we're going to select cell I2, and in the name box, I'm just going to call this tax underscore rate and hit enter. And then I asked you to use that named range in this formula in column E. So if we double click to edit the first formula, instead of I2, I want to use the named range instead. So let's delete out I2, and I'm going to start to type the word tax rate. There it is in my list. Tab to select, hit enter, and double click to copy that down. And then finally, I asked you to do the same thing for all of these totals in column I. So instead of the cell references, we want to use the named ranges. So total sales, I used column D for this, so I'm going to click up in the formula bar and delete out D3 to D52. And we're going to use the total named range, hit enter. For the next one, the average quantity, so for this one we're using the quantity named range. We're going to replace this with quantity, tab, and hit enter. For the next one is the minimum price per item. So I'm going to select the named range, delete it, and this time I'm going to press the F3 key on my keyboard and select price per item and hit enter. And we're going to do exactly the same for the next one. Let's delete it out, F3, price per item, and hit enter. And then finally we're doing a count A of the customers. So let's delete out this cell reference, and this time we're going to use the customer name named range and hit enter.